On my planet, I am kind of a loser, like you. But here, we could be more.
Hey everybody, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're having a great week, guys. Today I'm checking out X-Men. I've been doing so many X-Men videos lately. It's like, it just comes out. So let me start over. I'm going to be covering Venom 23 and 24. I'm also going to try to get to some other books that it's just piling up, man. I wish I could do more, but honestly, I got a real job and my kids like food and a roof over their head at night, so I'm gonna keep doing this on my free time at like between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning. There's about a 97% chance you don't care about anything I just said, so let me start getting into the books. You got Donny Cates, of course, writing this, and you got Mark Bagley as your artist. And that, of course, is for both issues. So issue 22 ended with Eddie Brock taking some dramatic steps in order to prevent from the Carnage symbiote, which now is possessing and overwhelming the Venom symbiote. He ended up having to cut off his hand in order to prevent being taken over by him. And that's where we start. His hand lying on the ground, and he's gotten off into the wood. He's tying a tourniquet around his arm, trying to stop the bleeding. And then he takes the blade, a machete that's been heated, and cauterizes it right there on the spot. Now that is some freaking pain right there. That would hurt. But he manages to hold it together, and he says, look, I got a long way to go. He looks up at this mountain and he starts the trek that way. Back in New York, you have Dylan, who he's hanging out with Sleeper, and he still has a piece of the Carnage symbiote from back during Absolute Carnage. So a couple of interesting points that are made here in this scene with Dylan. First of all, the symbiote that he has is not necessarily Carnage. It's a portion of the Grendel. So with that said, that also means that at one point and during the Absolute Carnage event, this symbiote was attached to the symbiote hive mind, and it's connected directly to Null. Well, Dylan is still trying to understand his powers. He's trying to figure out what exactly he is, and he decides to let this thing out of the box. Well, Sleeper freaks out. He's like, look, that thing's gonna kill you, Dylan. What are you doing? And the symbiote actually attacks him, tries to merge with him, but it can't. When it does, it actually burns. But in return, Dylan grabs this thing and tells Sleeper, look, it's not infecting me, squeezes it and says, I'm infecting it. And Sleeper starts freaking out. He's like, stop, you have to stop, Dylan. It is in so much pain. And Dylan just tells Sleeper how it is. He's like, he's in my dreams. He talks to me every night, threatens me, threatens my father. I want to know why. I want you to take me to him. And he holds this thing up in front of his face and says, show me Null. From there we jump back to Eddie, who's managed to make it to the top of this mountain where there's a couple sirens up there. He's trying to get up to him. He's trying to keep it together though, because he's lost a lot of blood. He's exhausted, and he's just gritting it out. And from there we're back to Dylan, and Dylan's sitting there saying, I'm in the hive. I can see it. And Sleeper's just telling him, look, get out of there. What are you doing? You've gone too far. You've proven your point. But then it starts showing him something. And what he sees is what we were seeing. And that's Eddie climbing this tower. And he's like, I don't understand what this is. It's far away. And then he asked, why are you showing me this? And you have Venom saying, trapped Dylan. He needs you. Help. Eddie, help Eddie. And Dylan just says, Dad? And right at that time, all these infected monkeys, flying monkeys, and everything else, snakes, start attacking Eddie on the tower and start trying to pull him down. And Carnage is just laughing, saying, pathetic. You really thought this would work? You thought you could radio home, call your little Avenger friends to save you? And Eddie tells Carnage, I didn't come up here to radio anybody. I came up here to pray. And Carnage laughs at him and says, pray to who? To what? You think your God will help you now? What God do you think is listening? And Eddie reaches out for the top of the tower. He says, the only God I know that's beaten you. Grabs it, says, Thor. And right at that time, lightning strikes and rips Venom and Carnage into two symbiotes again. But Eddie falls and hits the ground hard, and all he can do is roll over and look up, and he sees Carnage coming at him. He sees Venom coming at him, and all he can think is, I won't leave you alone. I promise. I'm coming home, Dylan. I won't leave you alone. And he passes out before you find out which symbiote gets to him. And as Eddie comes to, Cap's there, and he's like, hey man, are you with us? Can you hear me? And Eddie's like, what's going on? He's like, hey, we received an emergency message that your plane was going down. We got here as soon as we could. Don't worry, you're safe. And Eddie starts freaking out. He's like, no, my symbiote, it's not here. I have to go back. We have to go back. And Cap tells him, Eddie, I'm sorry. That's not an option. Right as a drone flies by him going the other way and completely nukes the island. And that's where you kick off with issue number 24. You have Eddie in the hospital, and he's talking about phantom limb syndrome. And what phantom limb syndrome is, I had a buddy whose father had lost a leg, and he would talk about how sometimes it was this itch you just couldn't get to. Sometimes it feel like sometimes like you had a leg that fell asleep, but there's nothing there. Or sometimes it would itch and there's nothing there. But Eddie's talking about that, and of course, he's not talking about his hand. He's talking about the fact that he doesn't have a symbiote now. He's without Venom. And because of that, it just feels like a part of him should be there, but it's not. And back in an earlier issue, after Absolute Carnage, the Avengers had asked him to come and be an Avenger. Now all the Avengers are there out in the hallway, and they're looking at him like a dog that is about to be put down or something, because he's just a normal guy now. He's no longer a guy that's going to be on the Avengers. He's not a superhero anymore without. He's just Eddie Brock. And that's when, Cap comes in and say, hey, look, there's somebody here to visit you. And Dylan comes in, and Eddie sits up right away. He's overjoyed. He's like, look, I'm so happy to see you. And, Dylan's asking him, are you okay? He's like, yeah, of course, son. Of course I'm okay. What's wrong? And Cap leans over and tells him, it's okay, son, you can tell him. He's like, tell me what? And Dylan tells him, look, I can't live with you anymore. And he's like, what are you talking about? And Cap kind of jumps in and says, look, you were living on the streets, you were an out of commission hobo and going through very dangerous situations. That's no place for a kid. And Eddie's like, no, I've always protected him, and I always will. He'll always be safe with me. I've only been out for 3 weeks. And Cap stops and says, over 3 weeks? Eddie, you've been asleep for months. You don't know? Null isn't coming. Null is here. And he looks out the window, and Null, this giant Godzilla-sized Null, is just wrecking the city. And this is when Dylan starts telling him, look, he came to me in my sleep. He came to me in my dreams, Dad, but you left, so I couldn't tell you. And then Cap starts laying it on thick. He's like, if we would have had some kind of warning, we would have been able to do something. But now the body count's already up in the thousands. And, there's nothing we can do at this point. Well, the doctor comes in behind him and tells him, look, I have to administer this. So Cap and Dylan get out of the way, and he hooks up the IV to Brock. And as Eddie looks down and says, what are you putting inside of me? He looks up and sees Cletus Cassidy with the Carnage symbiote in the IV bag. And it's like, it's time to take your medicine, Pops. And that's when it all starts clicking for Eddie. He's like, you should have known. You should have known he was in your head, that this isn't real. Dylan was speaking. He wouldn't call you Dad. On the island, when the lightning struck, Carnage must have gotten to me first. I'm still there. And he just screams, no, I'm still on the island. And Carnage just tells him, he finally gets it. You can't win this, Brock. You're trapped in the dark with me. I'll make you relive every horrific nightmare and fear until Null comes and burns this whole world to the ground. Now get up. Get up, and we're gonna go find your other, because he whimpered off somewhere into the woods. And after we're done there, we're gonna go find your boy. From there, we jump back to Dylan, and Dylan is sitting there, and he still has this symbiote, and he's looking at it, and that's when he connects again and finds Venom and sees him hiding in the woods, and he's trying to figure out what is going on. And once he finds Venom, he just takes, and it just expands out the energy and somehow looks like a portal. And he ends up saying, look, I don't know what just happened, but I feel like I have to go through this. And Sleeper's asking, what did you see when you looked through there? And Dylan tells him, look, I saw my dad's symbiote, and it was alone, and I have to go save them. And he just steps into this thing. And when he steps into it, he steps into this all black. And he instantly can communicate with Venom now. He just says, "Hello, can you hear me?" And Venom's like, "What? Who this?" And Dylan tells him, "Look, I need you to let me connect with you. My dad needs help." And Venom's like, "You think you can remote pilot my kind? Only Null has that power, Dylan. Are you sure?" And he says, "It's okay. I can do this now. Where's my dad?" And Venom starts apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry. The other one, the red one, it took him. It took Eddy, and I couldn't save him. I'm sorry, Dylan. I'm too weak." And Dylan tells him, "Look, it's okay. We're stronger when we aren't alone." And you have Carnage ripping through the woods looking for Venom, and then suddenly, boom! And that's when you have Venom tell Dylan, "You know, if your physical form is not here, we don't have to be in a human form. We can be anything." And then Dylan just kind of goes, "Huh," thinks about it, and then transforms into Venomsaurus Rex and is like, "Get away from my dad," and takes off after him. It's like, oh my goodness. And for reasons like this, if you're not reading Venom, you are missing out. Ever since Donny Cates has taken this, it has been an insane ride. And it's the Mark Bagley art, the Donny Cates writing. I mean, it has been a really good book. And I mean, heaven forbid when they put Ryan Stegman back on it, because his Venom stuff his symbiote stuff is just amazing. Venom number 25 will be the conclusion of this Venom Island storyline. And I'm telling you guys, you got to go pick it up. It's going to be great. And I know I'm sounding like a homer, but I've really enjoyed this. I highly recommend you go add it to your pull list. Go try to find the back stuff in trade paperbacks, because it's worth it. It is a really good read. This is one that I really look forward to reading every month. I usually don't get to doing a video on it as early as I'd like to, but this and Thor, Donny Cates is killing both those right now. I really enjoyed his Guardians of the Galaxy run. Hated that he was leaving that, but I get it. Definitely check it out, guys. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. That's all I got. If you haven't yet, head over to my X-Men Fantastic Four video. I'm doing a giveaway of that complete series. Make sure you leave a like here, leave a comment down below, and if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and wash your hands. That's all I got, guys. Real Comic Stacks, out.